Okay, so we have a very rare moment here in the studio. My grandfather, William Hart, aka Caesar Javuski, wrote a book called The Human Spirit right here. And he's been holding on to the manuscript for quite some time. My first question for you is, how long did it take to write? It seemed like it came in phases.
To write the whole script took me 10 years.
Wow.
And the reason was my daughter Linda, when she was about 12, said, "Daddy, I didn't know that my grandfather was an aristocrat." I said, "Yeah, he was a count." So I said, "What else did she know?" So from that moment on, I started writing, using letters, using stories that the family shared at getting together. And about 10 years later, I had it well written, and I took it to Staples, and they printed it for me.
Awesome. And so over the course of 10 years, I noticed that your writing goes from being very memoir-y, very thick and rich with detail, and then you went on trips, and then you're experiencing the trip, and you're talking about different periods of your life, and it's almost like your writing evolved too. But what was it? What was it like during the process of going through those memories again?
Well, what I discovered, and I will share this with anyone who's going to write their life story, is as you write it, you may get physically ill because you're re-experiencing those moments, and they're still in your mind, in your soul. So my lovely wife Alice would say to me, "Bill, the reason you're getting sick is because you're reliving those moments. So take a break for a while and then start writing again, and then take a break when you start feeling a little not yourself."
So something interesting happened is that you actually put the manuscript in my hands, and we wanted to actually put it into a book format, and part of that required actually retyping the book. And so there were parts of your story where I found myself uncontrollably crying when, for instance, your father died, or when different things were happening. Your mother couldn't join you on the way to the U.S. So in some ways, I feel like I felt the pain that you felt while you were writing too. And I hope that the reader can just appreciate, what it took to put these things down, because it definitely was not an easy task.
It took a lot of introspective thinking, remembering, and even after I did the initial write-up, I gave a copy for everybody in the family to look it over, and if there was anything they didn't want me to bring out, to erase it or delete it. And then some even added things that I had forgotten. For example, my younger brother Chris, when he was growing up and I was working part-time, I would always make a point to buy him a 45 p.m. disc, a record, for himself. And he has a beautiful collection now with like 300 discs of music he loved, and that's worth a fortune now.
Amazing. Well, what do you hope that people get out of it? What parts of your story do you hope that they get out of it? And I think the title says a lot, in terms of the human spirit, and you have a picture of your family there. But what do you hope people get out of it?
It will inspire them to write their own life story. Every human being has a story to tell, and so often they go to the grave not sharing it, and then having an obituary is not enough. I mean, usually you have one page, and that covers the whole life story, and it doesn't do that just doesn't do it.
So you say that you hope that everyone is inspired to write their own life story, because so many people will go to the grave without having taken that time. And I think the posture that you've taken is that it's an incredible gift. It's been an incredible gift for me to understand more about my heritage. And I hope that it's an incredible gift to others too, that are related to you, to understand what it was like to be in your shoes, but to also give them clues from the past, from their ancestors, as to maybe why they do some of the things that they do today, because a lot of these, things are passed down from generation to generation, and to understand where they come from brings a lot of peace and clarity.
Absolutely. What many people don't realize is that when you receive a beautiful gift from God of a little baby, you think it's totally, totally innocent. It's innocent on the surface, but deep down under, it has a DNA of all the past generations that are imprinted. And often you don't realize how many jewelers there were in the family, or how many admirals, or how many whatever. So by writing a life story, you're allowing your children and grandchildren to realize, hey, so my great-grandfather was a jeweler, and my grandfather was a jeweler, and now my dad is a jeweler, so maybe I should look into it and become a jeweler.
I mean, it's really interesting that you say that, because some examples that stand out immediately to me were, your father, an entrepreneur in his own right, and an author, a prolific writer. And you had your mom, who was just so giving and caring, and a healer type, and just all the things that she did. And then you have yourself, where you spent a lot of your career in the graphic arts field. And I look at my own life and how it's manifested in the things that I'm doing, and I'm pinching myself, thinking, oh, it makes sense now. That it's just a part of me.
Well, what I love about my family, especially my children and grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, is they give me the opportunity to help with their decisions, directly or indirectly. So often we need advice, but with the way the world operates today, it's very difficult to get advice from people, because we're input with so much that one person may not make a difference.
Well, do you have any final thoughts? I really wanted to do this video just to take the opportunity to just get your thoughts, and so that people can watch it when you give them a copy of this, so they can get some more context behind why they just got this and what to expect from it. But also that when you're not here, that your voice can carry on. So I think that's really important. Any closing thoughts?
Well, I have a wonderful biological family, an extended family, and the bottom line is, by sharing my life and my family, others can either learn from it and not make the same mistakes, or appreciate what they have more than they did before reading this book or even talking to me in person.
Well, we're going to end it there. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. You're welcome. And forever and ever, I'm grateful for your help.